Knut, there's no...
Yeah, I know.
Knapsack.
Tribute something you've always wanted to do?
No, it came about quite by accident, me doing Johnny Cash about 5 years ago. I was sitting with a friend of mine who was a stage manager for the casinos. I was sort of peppering him with questions as to how I could get to play on the main stage instead of just the lounge. I said, I want to do an R&B act. He said, well, you know, you've never had a hit, so we can't use it as a nostalgic thing. But if you started to imitate somebody, I said, I don't do imitations. He said, well, no, you'd probably be good at it. You know, you got a background in theater, and you could probably do Roy Orbison really well. I love Roy Orbison, but I mean, there's already a few people doing it really well, and I think his voice is just a bit too high for mine because he's a counter tenor, and trying to hit those high notes all night kind of scared me. So I said, no, I couldn't do Roy Orbison. We were having a cup of coffee, we sort of mused on it for about 30 seconds, and then it was like an epiphany. We looked at each other and went, Johnny Cash. Nobody's doing Johnny Cash. So that's when I thought, well, okay. I looked into it for a while. I did a lot of research for a good year before I sort of took the plunge. At one of my shows, I decided to do one set of Johnny Cash songs. There was the regular first two sets where nobody was at, which was typical of my gigs at the time. And then in the third set, the Johnny Cash set, the word had gotten out and there was about 100 people all of a sudden in the club. We played the 8 songs that we had rehearsed, and they wouldn't let us finish. So we had to go back and we played the 8 songs again. Because at that point, I think that, you know, I told myself, I think I hit upon something here. And I think it was just serendipity. One guy once said that, you know, you must share the same DNA in your throat as Johnny Cash. I didn't plan for it. I didn't ever think that I sounded like Johnny Cash. But I found a song that, I took a long time researching the songs and stuff like that. There's one song, it's my favorite Johnny Cash song. It's called I Still Miss Someone. It took me a while to come upon that song, about a good year as well. And when I finally did hear the song, because Bob Dylan stole it, but then again he stole many songs, I kind of already knew it, and I could really, like, it opened the door for me on an emotional level as a singer or an actor, whatever you want to call it, what I do. And I was able to sort of inhabit the space of Johnny Cash. Now, I'm just renting that space. I don't own it. There's a big footprint to fill, or big footprints to fill. But I kind of feel like, well, you know, the people really like when I sing the song. People are always singing along with me. And we have a really great time. So I think it's a pretty good deal. I mean, they get to hear Johnny Cash songs. I get to have a lot of fun singing Johnny Cash songs. We all go away happy at the end of the evening.
Yeah. That's great. What's your greatest passion, I guess, with singing French? Singing in French?
The wind is really kicking up there.
No, it's still going to be windy.
Yeah.
The editor's going to be sitting there saying, Bill, why did you record him in the wind? Well, that's what we kind of told that. We were outside.
Yeah.
And that was... Hope your editor's from Winnipeg, yeah. Here we go. What was the question again, Cheryl?
About your passion for singing in French.
I grew up in St. Boniface, and everybody spoke French when I was a kid, except for us, because my mother was from Alberta, and she didn't speak French. So we were effectively a minority within a minority, you know, speaking English only at home in a community that speaks only majoritively French in a place called Winnipeg, which is basically an English-speaking city. And in order to sort of get by and to get into the schooling system, at that point politics were involved, and it was my mother that taught me French. My first words of French back when I was about 5 years old, before I was going into grade 1. I had to take a test in French to see if I was comprehensive enough. And my mother had a passion. The passion is from my mother. She wanted all her children to be bilingual, be able to speak French, the language of our father, and as well as her language, English as well. And so it kind of came about that, you know, you really have to, you you have to work at something like that because it's not, I mean, it's there, but the English is dominating it all the time, right? Unless you really put your foot down and sort of entrench yourself in another language, you might just risk losing it because you're so influenced by the overwhelming, by being overwhelmed by the English language. So for me, it was, you know, it's a learning process. I had to teach myself how to speak and write in French a little bit too. And it's a different sort of vibe to sing in that language. I mean, you can sing the songs of Johnny Cash that's in an American accent. I can sing songs of mine that I've written in English. It's kind of in a North American accent. But when you sing in French, well, like they say, the accent falls on the different syllable, and I have to learn all of that. And it, you know, it takes a little bit of time and stuff like that. And there's just a sort of a different sort of a poetry that you can bring to the French language when you're singing in French, and I think that has really always attracted me. And I've got a lyricist who is from France, and he definitely writes what could be considered poetry. I mean, his lyrics would stand up without my music, you know. But we like the fact that they go well together.
All over the world?
I suppose so. I don't like being in the same place too long. We always traveled a lot. My father was basically, he loved to travel. He would get in the car for the weekend and go to Vancouver for something to do. And when I got to be about 11 years old, I think that I was such a pest around my mother that she told my father that, okay, if you're going to go to Vancouver, you're going to take that one with you. And I've always just loved getting, whether it's like just walking around in another city, discovering it, or driving miles and miles, you know. That's, to me, it helps clear my mind, and I can think about a lot of things. And you get to meet and discover new people and things. I might have questions for you, though.
Okay. Do you have a most joyous moment that happened on stage?
A most joyous moment that happened on stage. You know, there's many. There's many. To think of one right off the bat like this is, you're kind of putting me on the spot. There's many. But with doing the Johnny, you know what? I'll tell you what. When I do the Johnny Cash show, you can always look out. I can always look out in the audience and see people singing along with me. That I really like, and it always made me really happy that they were like getting into the show and enjoying it. And with Cash's songs, it's proof that they're going to be moving around. Like, see that guy dragging his feet?
Yeah, he's doing that on purpose, I think.
He's having fun. Anyways, a joyous moment for me on stage is always when I'm singing the Johnny Cash stuff. People are singing along with me. When we come to the end of the show and we do our last song, people oftentimes they get up and they really, you know, start clapping, stuff like that. And that's, you know, we've become a bit used to that with the Johnny Cash show because people, you know, love the Johnny Cash songs. I was in France earlier in the year. I'd spent 3 months touring around there, and people didn't know me. They still don't know me. They know a little bit about me now because I've been over there, but they didn't know me very much or my material, and so they would sit there for an hour concert and listen to the songs of Marcel Soulodre en français, and I'd do a Johnny Cash song or something like that too. But a most joyous occasion for me was when people would be singing along with my French stuff. That was like, wow, one guy had bought the record and he was, you know, yelling along with it, and he was, you know, kind of in tune too, so that was very nice.
Whoa.
All wind or what?
It's a lot to me to be able to perform right here in my hometown of Winnipeg. Actually, I live in St. Boniface. It's across the river from Winnipeg, and yeah, we are part of the city, but we're the French part.
Great, okay, thank you very much for your time. That was excellent.
Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought.